to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Inside Sports Talk Radio with Power 95 FM. With host Ian Rollins and co-host Earl Baston.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio on this Monday, March the 4th. I want to go back a month. I know it is Daylight Saving Time coming up. But starting tomorrow, we'll see the start of an international squash tournament going on right here at the in Bermuda at the Bermuda Squash Rackets Association Club in Devonshire. We have two of Bermuda's, Bermuda's number 1 and number 2 player currently on island to take part in the tournament. You guys have had a magical ride of sorts of late. I mean, to climb up to, 155 or 153?
148.
148.
Yeah.
And 152 or 3.
Yeah, in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and you start off high numbers, and then you're down. You both come back with a medal from the CAC games. It's been a ride.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, we have this tournament coming up. It's nice to be able to take part in a tournament on local soil for you guys, because obviously you spend so much time traveling to international events. But having it here in Bermuda, do you guys feel a sense of pride and pressure?
Yeah, I mean, it's great being home, and it's amazing to have the home crowd behind you, of course. And not only that, but obviously it's a great accomplishment for the club to be able to host a big event, and not just the men's, but the women's also.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm super excited. I know Mike's been involved a little bit more in like the day-to-day getting prepared, so maybe you can talk about that. But yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, you know, right now we're selling out tickets quick. Tickets are selling for $25 a day, so it's a pretty reasonable price. You know, we get a good capacity of about 100 people every night, which is awesome for us. You know, I love playing in front of the home crowd. The more the merrier, and the more noise the better. You know, like a lot of tournaments around the world you go to, you don't get that same atmosphere like you do at your hometown. So it's great to have that so extra support, and having your loved ones there and some friends and family is really great.
Now, let's talk about towards the end of last year. You guys done some quick tournaments in the States and Canada, I believe. Obviously, you're getting towards the end of the year, and you're looking forward to the next year, big year as well, because you have Pan Ams and so forth. But how do you plan out your year? How do you try to move up that ladder and then obviously finish as high as you can on the circuit?
Oh yeah, well no, you want to start. You basically want to plan and pick your tournaments. You know, for me, I pick according to where I am in the world, how close, how easy is the tournament to get to. You then look to see, you know, what kind of draws and entries are. You know, for me, the more experience, the better. You know, we've got Pan Am Championships coming up this summer, which is obviously the big deal for squash. First time Bermuda's qualified as a team, so this is a big accomplishment for us. So we want to keep the training up and progressing. Basically, picking the tournaments that are close for us, that are easy to get to. The more the merrier, in my opinion. You know, Noah might look at maybe more around the States, being located in New York. You know, it's a little bit easier to get around. For me, I spend a lot of time between Bermuda and Toronto, so I play more in the Canadian tours. But yeah, you know, essentially we're trying to get around the most exposure we can, but whatever preparations for Pan Ams as well is just an added bonus.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big target point we're aiming at. You know, even with the professional scene, it's like nothing we really do there is going to impact our play at the Pan Ams, other than just training as hard as possible and trying to be ready for that.
When you look at the competition as far as the Pan Ams, because, well, Micah, you went to Commonwealth some time ago, and we played doubles as well. So playing in a doubles kind of atmosphere is something different, because the court's a little wider. It's a little Noah takes up a lot of space.
Yeah,
that reach.
It helps.
If I'm going to play doubles, I'm going to play with Noah. Noah's on my team.
That's a good partner to have.
Yeah. But going through what you guys went through in Colombia, gaining that experience with each other. I mean, you guys grew up playing against each other all the time. Yeah. But when you find yourselves shoulder to shoulder playing in a match, kind of, what is that atmosphere like for you two? Because you're kind of teammates now, and not because squash could be it is an individual sport, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, Mike and I have known each other since we went to elementary school together. We were in the same elementary school class, you know, like it's awesome being on the court together, and I love when we get to team up. It's a lot better than having to play each other, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the doubles is great. The Colombian experience was awesome as well for us because we gained a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
You know, we know it's possible to go out there and medal in the Pan Am Games, and I don't think we're going to accept anything other than that as a success in the doubles coming up. So it was awesome to be in that atmosphere, and it's great to be able to not have to try and kill each other to win or anything, you know.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I couldn't get to the national championships for reasons we all know, but the last two you guys have faced off against each other. It would appear you're over the hurdle of having to get rid of Nick and Patrick in the final. but now that you guys have kind of sort of dominated on local soil for a while, does that the people right behind you, does that give them a sense of maybe next in a few years it's us?
I hope so. I hope there's some juniors looking at us and thinking, you know, we can get there and we can take them down. You know, Micah again is a little more connected to these junior guys. I think maybe Nick and Patrick, you know, their heyday may be gone, but yeah, hopefully there's someone else coming up behind us. I mean, maybe you can speak more.
Yeah, no, I think like when me and Noah were growing up, we had idols to look up to. Nick Kimes, James Stout, even you could say. Patrick came in a little bit later to the island, but we looked up to him. They were great role models, and we kind of want to be that for the next generation, and also them to look at us and say, oh, maybe one day that could be us out there, you know. And we've got a couple juniors up and coming, and Nia Smith, Taylor Carrick. They're both looking pretty strong in the men's. And we've got Charlotte Toogood, Abigail Brewer looking good in the women. So, you know, I keep reminding them that, you know, to stay resilient, stay at it. It doesn't, you know, sport, not only squash, it doesn't take, you know, months. You can't miraculously just do things quickly. It's got to be done the right way over time. So I keep telling them to remain patient, you know. Right.
Did you have a conversation with Toogood when she returned from that experience she had in where was it?
Buenos Aires?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I spoke to her and her family. She said, you know, the exposure of it was incredible. Like just being there in that atmosphere, you know, being a showcase sport.
Because it was a test event, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, showcase sport for the Youth Olympics was pretty awesome. You know, they all got to, you know, they were there with some of the best juniors in the world, you know, and they got to be kind of the center of attention for the week that they were there. You know, they kind of got treated like almost little sporting celebrities.
Right,
so,
right.
It was a really cool thing for her to see. Oh wow, if I take this serious, this could be one day actual reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel you have a target on your back come Caribbean Championships because, you know, you are that good though?
Yeah. I mean, there's greater expectations, you know, and that's a good thing. I think that it's nice to have a target on your back, make you, you know, keep working extra hard and think to yourself, you know, if I don't work super hard, someone's coming for me. And, you know, that's the attitude I believe about Micah. You know, if I don't work crazy hard, he's going to overtake me. You know, there's no, you can never stop working hard. There's always someone out there working super hard, and you got to be ready for that. So the target is a good thing, no doubt. And even if it wasn't there, I'd be painting it myself so that somebody else would be coming after me to keep myself motivated.
Yeah, right.
What was the night of the final like for you guys?
Oh, wow. Well, you know, we know, like you said before, we're teammates. We've known each other for so long, but that one tournament every year, it's kind of like a unspoken kind of agreement. It's like an unspoken agreement between us. It's like, you know what, even though we're friends, we're going to kill each other out there. Try to win. And it didn't disappoint. Sure enough, we killed each other like we do always. I think the last 3 times we played, I've just been exhausted by the end of it.
Right.
Know? Like it was again, like it was. I think for the neutral spectator, it was a great match to watch.
Right.
I know I gave it my all. I'm sure Noah gave it his all.
Oh yeah, we didn't have anything left after that. I barely had enough room for the Heineken.
Do you feel as if a lot of it is mental because you two know each other and you kind of know each other's game, so you're draining yourself trying to figure out a way to get a point and the next point as opposed to the physical part? Yeah,
I think there is definitely a mental aspect, as with squash in general, right? A lot of it comes down to, you know, can you outthink your opponent? Can you outthink yourself a lot of the time? Because some of the time you got to beat yourself more than you have to beat your opponent. I think for the two of us, we both know each other's game really well, so we generally know the game plan that we're going to go through to beat the other person. But at the end of the day, you know, like we're both like fairly evenly matched, so it's always going to be tough. Even if you have the perfect game plan, you know, it's still going to require a certain amount of sacrifice if you want to win.
Yeah, I think you have to mentally, before you get on there, expect to be giving it everything and more. Like if you're not 100% ready for that, then it can show. You know, and you've got to be ready to fight and ready to give it 100%. Especially when you know you're playing somebody who you know their game, you know how many times you played each other, no matter what. You know, and then you've got it's kind of like that added pressure being home as well, in front of fans and friends and family, and I think that also adds to it as well. You know, if we were playing on tour, it could be a completely kind of different atmosphere. But because national champs is with your friends, with your family, it brings out more nerves, more emotion. It's kind of probably the most mentally and emotionally exhausting match for me. You know, being by the end of it, I can be just ready to go to sleep right after. Like Noah said, you can't even fit a Heineken down afterwards. You're so tired. So those nerves. It's a good experience to have that too.
Yeah. What would you say, Noah? What type of player do you like to challenge yourself against? Someone that doesn't like hitting hard, or someone that just likes to drop the ball a lot, play a lot of angles?
No, I prefer to play someone. I mean, if we're talking about who would I like to play so that I know I can win, I like to play
challenge yourself.
Someone not very
not
good.
Not me. Well.
No, I mean, it's good to play someone who hits, you know, like you said, like the angles, and hits the ball hard at high pace. You know, these guys in the top 50, you know, top 20 level, they're all hitting the ball very hard. You know, moving the pace all the time, changing it up, taking you into the front corner and then the back. So I like to play like an all-around game where there's a lot of movement and thinking and this kind of thing. I mean, obviously, it makes it just that much more difficult. But, you know, squash is a puzzle to be unlocked, and that's the fun part for me, is trying to figure out, you know, how to move the pieces around so it makes a complete picture.
Yeah. What about you, Micah?
I've kind of found that certain players over the years have playing styles that I personally don't like to play against. You know, I've had people, you know, there's no exact right way and style of opponent. You know, there's no perfect way to play squash. You know, like Noah, for example, is really tall. He uses his reach. But you can also have an opponent who's quite small, fast, and quick. You know, you have to be very diverse with your game plan. And, you know, even at the top level, the top players have their, you know, bogey players, as they say, players they don't like to play against, you know. You know, for me, off the top of my head, I've got so many bogey players that I can think of. It's not perfect, but I definitely have a style to me that I like to do, to play against. I get better results against some players seated higher than me just because I like that kind of style, but then I can lose to somebody lower than me just because he's unorthodox. You know?
Right.
It's tricky.
Is it more comforting for you guys now to be regularly seeded at tournaments? Because last year, a lot of time, early part of last year, you guys had to go through qualifiers. Yeah. Now I see of late, more regularly, you guys are actually seeded in tournaments. So is it like I'm part of this now? I really feel more included because I'm looked at as a ranked player, as opposed to I got to go through these 3 qualifiers to get to the next level.
Yeah. No, I mean it's good. It's nice to know that you have some points. A lot of the time, it affords you the opportunity to get points easily. So it's nice to know sometimes that those are there. But it's also good because it reminds you that you deserve to be there. You know, you are like legitimately, you know, you're in that top 8 or whatever it is, you know, of 24, and you have something to prove. But at the same time, like, people know that you're good enough to be there, and you're good enough, you know, maybe to make a splash and win the tournament. You know, so that's always a good little boost. And on top of the points being almost guaranteed, which is also important.
Yeah, I like it, you know, for the sake of keeping that your ranking. So if you know you're the 8th seed of the tournament, then you're expected to win your first round match, and then you'll end up playing a higher ranked opponent in the second round. So that's, for me, the past year, I've felt that I've been meeting my seeding. So I've been beating the people I should beat, and then losing to the people who I'm not quite ranked as high as. So I feel like the next step for both of us would be to try to create those upsets against the higher ranked players. So the further you make it in a tournament, the more points you get. Right. Sometimes it just takes one tournament for that breakthrough win, and then boom, you're in there with the higher ranked guys. Your confidence goes up, and you secure your spot. You know, so we're both looking for those upsets.
Yeah. When you look at those opponents, we'll go back to Colombia because I saw so many different level of players. That's, you know, the Mexicans and so forth. How often do you guys think you're going to have to be playing to get to that? Because they had what they had in the world. They had the 21st, and they were ranked pretty high.
Yeah, the Colombian and the Mexicans are by far.
Right.
Yeah, the Mexicans and Colombians seem to dominate those areas. But yeah, like we just have to train extremely hard, but also getting used to that pace with playing more opponents at that level. So like the more and more you play with players like that, the more you're used to it you get to, and it just becomes less of a big problem for you. So like if you kind of stay with that sort of training, if you're in that atmosphere, you're playing with top 50 players every single day. And then you go to a tournament and you're playing 150 in the world, but you're used to playing 50 in the world. It starts becoming a lot easier.
Right.
Yeah. The frequency that I think like in our training end is good. It's just a matter of getting some more guys that are just that much better than us to push us to that next level. Because a lot of it is belief, you know, and so you have to train with these guys. And that's another reason why having this tournament down here is such a big thing for us, because it brings people down. You know, we can train with them. You know, like if, you know, hopefully this doesn't happen. Hopefully Mike and I play in the final. But, you know, if we were to lose early, then we can train with some of the other guys to get knocked out. And this can be a good opportunity to grow for us. So, yeah, I think looking ahead to, like, Pan Ams and stuff like that, we just need to get a little bit more, like, strong competition, you know, because, like you said, the Mexicans and the Colombians, the Argentinians not so strong, but the other teams, you know. Sorry, just making fun of.
I know.
Our side partner. Yeah. So I mean, this is a good opportunity for us, this tournament, to help us grow, and you know, I think we're doing a lot of the right things. We just need to add in a few more components.
I want you to know that if you get drawn against an Argentinian over this week, you have to come out on top.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. I don't think he's on my side of the draw, but maybe he is. That would be fun. I'd love to play an Argentinian. You know?
You gave him an incentive to.
Yeah, it was probably a bad idea, but here we are.
But as professionals on a tour, how exciting is it for you guys to talk about your experiences when you come back to, and you're talking, especially you, Mike, are talking to the young ones?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I have no regrets over the past 6-7 years I've been doing this. I have, you know, so much experience that I can take back from all this, and my plan is to give back to the next generation of players. You know, my whole plan throughout this is that I would kind of know when it was time, and then bring the knowledge that I've gained from all these years and give back. And I think it's a pretty awesome accomplishment, even though, you know, I might not be up there with the top 20 or the 50 in the world. You know, I still haven't broke that top 100. I still, you know, I don't take back what I've been doing, and the training that I've been doing. My knowledge of the game has improved so much since I started. You know, I remember when I first started, I felt like almost like, what am I question it every day. I was like, what am I doing out here? You know, I feel like I don't know a thing. So after all these years, I feel, man, okay, I actually can watch a squash match with top 50 guys and be knowing what one's doing wrong and what's doing right. You know, I actually can understand the game so much better now, just from all these years of playing at this level.
Yeah, I think it's also important, like we talked a lot about belief, you know, and having these kids, having Micah and myself to look up to, you know, and thinking this guy made it, and look where he came from. You know, he went to Montessori, you know, down the road, whatever, and now he made it to, you know, top 150 in the world. It can be done, you know, and having the example there, that makes a huge difference, especially to the kids.
Yeah.
All right, this is your opportunity to sell tickets for the next few nights. Somebody's listening.
All right.
Somebody's listening.
Come down. We got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Every night is going to be crazy. There's going to be 100 people down there, guys. We need the support. There's, I think, 4 local women and 3 local men in the event. So come down, bring them support. There's going to be some top 100 level squash going to be played. There's a full bar being open, VIP. There's anything available. It's going to be a great atmosphere, and this is personally probably my favorite week at the club. So if you do have time, Devonshire Courts play starts tomorrow at 4 o'clock and goes on till about 10. So it's 6 hours of play. So come down whenever. You know, grab a drink, bring a friend. $25 tickets.
Yeah, it's cheap, and the drinks are cheap at the club. You know, it's awesome, great atmosphere.
Great atmosphere.
I know we're going to have a lot of fun, so it would be awesome if as many Bermudians could come down and support us as possible. That's what we need.
Yeah. And Earl's going to be there.
Earl's
going to be there.
Yeah, I'm going to be there. Yeah. I promise you I'll be there.
Yeah, we're setting up an Amstel right 10-4. So come down if you like an Amstel. Earl will give you a little cheers.
Well, gentlemen, I want to say congratulations thus far on your professional careers, and we look forward to this week being a successful one, not only for you guys, but for the club itself as well.
Yeah,
and all the players. Hopefully, they all come through with in good health and ready for another tournament. Because if this goes off well, I can see maybe another one later on in the year, hopefully.
Yeah,
as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back with more Inside Sports Talk after these messages.
On Power 95 FM with host Ian Rollins and co-host Earl Baston.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio again on this Monday, March 4th. Joining me in studio right now is the president of the Bermuda Netball Association, Mr. Mel Evans, and of course we have a young team already. You announced a young team a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Preparations are full steam ahead. You've had a full weekend of netball.
Yes.
Cross your fingers because that doesn't always happen.
Yes, they rather cooperated.
Yes. It looked a little dodgy, but it actually came off. But
Yeah, it was a good
where are we with this under 16 team and the final preparations for this tournament?
Well, the under 16s are obviously honing in, trying to make sure that they are the best at the best, that they potentially can be at this time.
Right.
So they have a full week camp. There have been week camps periodically throughout the training. Other than that, they train twice a week with netball skills and drills, and then they also have their fitness. But periodically, it was one over December break, it was another one in January, and obviously in March. Just trying to finalize and hone in on technical elements, also trying to assist those in specific areas, different things that they may need to work on for their specific position-wise on the court. So these week camps, they offer technical, and they also offer, we do nutritional, we do some fitness and things like that. So yeah, we're definitely full steam ahead and trying to accomplish the best that we can given the limited time that we have left.
Do you feel with most of them playing in the senior league, if not all of them playing in the senior league, it gives them that little more edge as far as the pace being, having to play a lot faster. I mean, at the under 16 level, a lot of them play because, they play fast. But at the senior level, the game's a little more physical, the game's a little more faster. Do you think that's helping?
I think it is helping, and that was the idea behind the BNA actually allowing those that were a part of the under 16 national program unlimited amount of games that they can play up.
Right, because I remember when you said that, because there was a time where they couldn't play, or they couldn't play X amount of games.
If they played 3, they had to stay up within that league.
Right.
Obviously, with us continuously trying to develop our young players, we totally agree unanimously within the council that that would be a good concept to implement. And it's probably something that we will continue to do going forward. We don't want to hamper the stats of teams, though. That's the thing, because we don't want them playing in their league continuously, regularly, and then teams or clubs that may have teams that can't field teams, they have them playing twice. So, it's trying to find that fine balance of giving them moments of success and allowing them moments of success and then challenging them. So most of the teams have taken advantage of it. It's our hope that they're not just taking advantage of it so that they make up numbers.
Right.
Yeah, but also really and truly allowing them to play positional wise what they're going to be playing in the under 16 level, and definitely the pace of the game, the physicality that's involved at the international level, which hopefully this kind of eliminates that surprise element, because lots of times when we haven't had them playing up and playing in a more physical environment and a faster paced environment, they got a little shell shock when they get down there, because a lot of the Caribbean teams, they field athletes, overall athletes. They might be track stars. They might be also they're definitely not just netballers. So
they teach them the basics, using their athleticism. And
the reality is just like most sports, you go and you kind of scout those potential persons, and you say, hey, wait, it's a high jumper, so we definitely know that they got
ability
some
to
ability to jump high. And they convert them
Yeah.
into a goalkeeper or a goal defense, or just some people even potentially shooters, and just teaching them that fundamental element, but they're already athletes, so it's that much easier to transition them.
If you had to compare the last team that took part in this tournament and this team, where are the strengths you see this team will have on the other team, on the previous team, or where are they behind that previous team?
Well, I mean, for me, I would definitely say that both teams had their strengths, and have their strengths. I feel that this younger group, they're a very close-knit group. I find that, they are growing, truly growing as a team. And I feel that they've probably had the most growth from start to finish. Where on the other hand, the previous team were already at a certain level. So, so the bonus with it is that, yes, they're growing. They have grown. They've shown the most growth out of the program. But I don't want to kind of compare them as
I only ask that because you've been involved in both kind of thing, and you would see where we were strong at a center, but our center is strong, but it's we might need to work on that area. You know what I mean? To strengthen that up. I noted because I happened to take a look on Saturday at some of those same players, and I'm saying one of our challenges is, and it's always been this way, it's our height and competing, especially in the Caribbean. So are we working on speed to counteract that? Or
we're always working on speed. In Bermuda, we've developed and continuously developing our own style of play, which consists of speed. And it's not just speed; it's a change of direction. It's a whole element that it's in between the Caribbean and the European style of play. It's not honed in either or, so it kind of takes teams by surprise, because they play kind of like the European style, but then they still have their own little flair, and we take that as a true compliment because we're trying to establish our own style of play. However, I can definitely say we're challenged in some height areas we're not as challenged as we used to be.
Right.
We're definitely kind of matching up when it comes to the age now. When you get to the older level, the senior level,
Yes, yes.
that's probably where the challenge, comes in more because, they're going through their developmental periods and they've had their growth spurts and things like that. But I find that we have a bunch of athletic young ladies, that are continuing to grow and their size. They're not as short as they used to be.
Right.
They also got some body to them.
Right.
They're not real timid and
pushed around,
small
yeah.
to be pushed around and things like that. So we're not as far off as we used to be,
Yeah, I mean, because I've seen video of tournaments going years going by, and I noted that that's where we kind of struggled.
Right.
And that's just our nature. That
Yeah.
We can't put somebody in a stretch machine and stretch them.
Right.
And, so we have to work with what we have. But as far as the league season, and I know we're going to break in a few minutes for news, and hopefully you can stay on. But as far as the league season, how are things shaping up? Because it's getting kind of tight towards the end now. We're on the home stretch.
We're definitely on the home stretch. I would still say it's a 3-horse race between Phoenix Heat when it comes to the senior league and Lindeus Tigers and Storm Thunder. It's going to come down to these last couple of matches that's going to make the difference. And like I had said previously, the change in the scoring has made a huge
you can see
difference.
It's
made a huge difference. And that's what we want. We want it to be competitive. We want teams to still strive for something. And I think that's where it's kind of, putting us kind of, neck and neck and kind of, trying to, just pull it out towards the end of the, and that's what we want to see. You know what I mean? So, it will probably come down to where Phoenix Heat will probably more than likely be victorious. I mean, they have a huge amount of experience. And obviously with the likes of Danielle back combining with Dominique, it's proved that, it's hard. It's hard for some of the teams to try and defend her.
Right, definitely. But we do have to break for the news. We're at the top of the hour. So we'll be back with more Inside Sports after the newscast.
Back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Inside Sports Talk Radio on Power 95 FM with host Ian Rollins and co-host Earl Baston.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Still joining me here is the president of the Bermuda Netball Association, Kamel Evans. Kamel, we were chatting about the league and how it's getting tight, especially in the senior division.
Yes.
But I got a chance to see a lot of the under 12, under 16 division, which for the sport is encouraging to see.
Yes.
So much involvement.
Yes.
And those leagues are actually heating up as well.
Yes.
But when you start saying, we kick off at 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock,
1 o'clock,
and we go right through to the seniors till about 9:30. Although a full day, for the console, it must be a satisfying day because you get to see from youth to adults.
It is a satisfying day, and obviously you know that the console wear many hats.
Mm-hmm.
We're coaches.
Yes.
We're umpires.
Yeah.
We're trying to keep the sport afloat and things like that. So it is truly rewarding, and to see the competitiveness, especially towards the end of the season, because towards the beginning, like some teams, were kind of blowing out teams, and we've seen a huge amount of growth in all the clubs as far as their players, and so they're obviously putting some work in.
Right.
So for us, it is rewarding for us to see that not just us as a council are putting in work, but the clubs are truly believing and trying to push forward the sport and trying to develop the players and consistently develop the players from the junior program right through.
I know you're fully concentrating on the league and obviously the under 16s.
Yes.
You guys over the last few years have had celebrity netball. What's in store this year? I'm trying to find out ahead of time so I know what date to say no.
You love it, Earl. Don't even sit there and
I'm
say
officially retired.
No.
I'm won twice. No, I'm sorry. I lost once. I won once. I'm retired. That's it.
Yeah, retired.
Finish on a high, mate.
That's what
somebody else's turn.
Yeah, but obviously the celebrity netball is going to stay on our calendar of events. It's a really fun atmosphere and a way to bring the community together, because netball is truly a family sport. It's a family environment. So we haven't set a date as yet. We'll be going back and we'll be doing our annual calendar events and obviously putting that in there. And we have so many players that haven't played yet that are still requesting to play.
There you go. That's spot available.
So we would hate to disappoint, but we do. Prior to that, we have our All-Star and our Switch-Up Mix-Up, which is another event that brings out, good numbers. The Switch-Up Mix-Up happening before the All-Star match. The All-Star will be the last match to, finish off our 2018-19 season.
Right.
So, we're looking forward to we're definitely looking forward to it. And even some consideration going into potentially having a mixed division within the summer league, because we had men that want to play in the summer league, and believe it or not, it's great fitness for footballers off season, even for cricketers in season, to get some footwork and some much needed cardio in. So it's something that we kind of threw out last season. I think we'll kind of feel it out again this year as to whether or not we want to maybe offer 2 separate leagues, a co-ed and then, all women's league.
Right.
But it's definitely something that we're looking to do. We're also definitely looking to start younger.
Okay.
Start younger with maybe having the idea thrown out about a Pee Wee league that can kick off prior to September, which is when we have our registration and things like that.
Like an introductory.
Like an introduction, because we need to start engaging these potential future netballers, Bermuda international netballers at a younger age. And we feel that the catching and the balance and all of those things is a skill set that a lot of children can deal with. You used to have the tumble tots, and
Right,
you have,
right.
and football has it. They have the little PV
PVs,
leagues
yeah.
and things like that. So it's definitely an idea that's been floated about, and we'll meet and we'll definitely make a decision going forward. So
Maybe you
stay
could try.
tuned.
Maybe you could try a Bermuda football challenge tournament. Challenge the clubs.
Yeah.
To come down and have a tournament one Saturday.
Yes.
And see who the best football club is at playing
Yeah,
netball.
for real, for real. And we've also given consideration, we're giving some huge consideration because we have more players that are aging out of playing as competitively, because once you turn 16, you play up in the senior league.
Yes.
And somebody that's 40 plus years would definitely don't want to play against, somebody that's just going to run circles around. So there's also walking netball that we're looking at trying to bring out for like over 45s or over 50s.
High speed.
Something like, there you go.
There you
go.
Could
definitely walk.
Stand still.
It's definitely running really strongly in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
They have some leagues, and in the Caribbean, I think they're also putting together some leagues.
Nice.
So it's definitely a lot that we can do, but we just need to continuously get people interested and come on board to assist, because it's a lot of work. Yeah. It's definitely a lot of work, and it's not the work of a one-man show or one-woman show.
Right.
It takes a collective of us, and I'm really grateful for those that have continuously stuck by the sport and continue to try to help grow the sport.
Okay. Anything else before we wrap up?
No, I just want to say, get behind us, under 16 national team. We be heading off to the Jean Pierre the end of this month. They'll be playing against 7 countries, and these ladies have put in a lot of work. And we'll be having a few more fundraiser events that will be out there. So we ask Bermuda and the public to just continue to support us and continue to help us to promote the sport that we love.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and
You're
good
welcome.
luck. You'll be in before you go next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And hopefully I can get some of the players. I mean, it's so unfortunate, obviously, they're in
school. Yeah.
And things like that. So it would be great if we can get some of the players. I was trying to get them in this time, but hopefully next time,
we can work out with the school
and try and get them on a lunch break and come in.
Definitely. Okay. Yeah. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day. We'll be back with more Inside Sports Talk after these commercial breaks.
Sports Talk Radio. Inside Sports Talk Radio on Power 95 FM with host Ian Rollins and co-host Earl Basin.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. It's the Argus Hour. Joining us on the line from Argus is Shakira Warner. Shakira, you have a special guest in with you as well. What are we talking about, or what are we discussing today as far as Argus Insurance?
So, good afternoon, everybody. Today, actually, our topic is nutrition because March is Nutrition Month. So, to kick off the month, we've invited a special guest, a very special guest. Her name is Miss Jessica Quigley, and she is a registered dietitian and a member of the Bermuda Dietitians Association.
Well,
maybe just give you some facts on how to find healthier products when you're out shopping.
Well, that's good. As far as nutrition and when people want to make the right choices going to the grocery store, what do you hear are the challenges when speaking with people?
Oh, well, the biggest challenge is I think people are confused about what's healthy and what's not. So my job is to really help get rid of all that misinformation that seems to be out there about food and just really try to make healthy eating simple, especially for people who just want to make small changes to their diet, for example, to manage their diabetes or to get their weight to a healthier point. Healthy eating really doesn't have to be that complicated, but because of Google and all the other information resources out there, people do become overwhelmed and feel like they're confused as to what to buy.
What would you consider non-healthy, what people get confused with?
Yeah, so a lot of times in my practice, like people ask me if gluten-free is healthy or if they should follow the vegan diet or how much sugar they should be consuming. So what I try to do is just kind of work with where people are at. So as a dietitian, you know, if I'm actually speaking with someone, I'll just try to find out like what their normal eating habits are and go from there. If there's someone that's really busy, I might start looking at giving them some healthy snack options so that they're not missing meals and then overeating later on in the day. But we don't really believe in like good or bad food, so we just work with people are at and we go from there.
Obviously, people have challenges as far as what they put in their mouth, what they're putting into their body. Some people are under the misguidance of if they go to work out, they can have whatever they want to eat afterwards, and it's going to work in their favor. But how would you advise someone who does work out on a regular basis, but then turns around and is not making the right eating choices?
Right. So food is a huge part of you're looking for results when it comes to fitness. You definitely can't. It takes a lot of exercise to, I guess, burn off some of the treats and foods that people think they're burning off at the gym. So what I normally try to do is give people like healthy swap ideas. So like if they're working out and then they want to have something kind of like a treat, like chocolate, as a dietitian we'll work and say, okay, what can we get that at least has some protein and some good carbohydrates that are going to fuel back those muscles you just used and still satisfy your sweet tooth. So like for example, like the chocolate thing is a big one. So me personally, I like to tell people like there's these Quest protein bars out there that have little pieces of chocolate in them. So rather than have a chocolate bar or chocolate ice cream, one of those would be better. You're still going to satisfy your sweet tooth, but you're also getting that protein and carbohydrate and fiber that your body's going to really benefit from, so that the next time you go work out, you actually have good fuel to use.
Now, this might sound a little crazy to anyone listening, but is something that is good for you, you can have too much of?
Yeah, that actually is true, but it's you know, if you're eating like fruit, it takes a lot of, for example, fruit to go over your caloric intake. That's when food can kind of, too much of a good thing can become that. So, you know, you can eat too much of a good thing, but it does take a lot harder to do that than if you were to eat like, you know, more what we consider like junk food, right? But the only really way to determine that is if you actually look at how much you're actually eating over a course of a day. So we actually tell our clients I work at the Dream Center at the hospital. We actually tell our clients that if they're interested in knowing if they're eating too much of a good thing, to track their food intake. Start making like a little food journal, really noting like the serving sizes, and then they can do it themselves, or we can do it at the center. We'll plug in that information and get their total calories and everything else for that day, and then from there you can kind of see if you're eating too much of a good thing.
What would be your advice for someone to start their day healthy? A breakfast of sorts.
Oh yeah, breakfast, like break the fast. So I definitely believe breakfast is a good meal to start your day off right. And you definitely want to give your body some energy. So the best type of energy is complex carbohydrates. So like oatmeal is a good one, or fruits, anything that's really a whole grain. And then you definitely want to try to pair it with some lean protein. So if you have a boiled egg or some natural peanut butter, almond butter, maybe some nuts and seeds in your oatmeal, all that kind of stuff will pair really nice together and give your body a good source of steady energy throughout that morning period.
Now, here comes the challenge, because a lot of people right now during work hours tend not to take a lunch break, but eat on the run. What is a balanced lunch after that breakfast that you advise?
Right. So if you're just talking about like lunch, what's a balanced lunch, you still want to have complex carbohydrates, lean proteins. Definitely try to fill up on your vegetables too. So like a good one might be like having lots of different vegetables, make a salad, pair it with some grilled chicken, maybe some quinoa or couscous or whole wheat pasta, brown rice, or some complex carbs. Or you can even have a piece of fruit with that salad, and that would be pretty balanced. Even just something simple as like a turkey sandwich, sorry, with a side salad. Maybe put this sandwich on a whole wheat pita bread if you wanted to change it up. Anything like that would go good for lunch. But like you said, a lot of people are skipping lunch. They're busy, maybe meetings, or maybe they're trying to fit their workout in at lunch hour. Because I know a lot of people in the downtown area do that. I'm downtown today, and I see everyone run around their gym clothes, which is awesome. So if you're in that category, that's when a little snack can really benefit you. So if you have your breakfast and you know your lunch is going to be more than 4 hours later, having a snack of, say, an apple or another piece of fruit with a handful of nuts will really go a long way, and kind of prevent yourself from overeating later on in the day, when that's when you don't really want to eat too much, at night. So that's when our body is kind of getting ready to go to sleep, and our metabolism naturally just tends to slow down a little. So you want to try to avoid that by having a snack if your lunch is delayed.
Is it?
Sorry, Earl.
No, go ahead.
Busy working people, planning is definitely, a key thing here. As Jessica said, make sure that you have, if you know that your lunch is going to be a little late, make sure that you have a good, nutritious snack to power you through, until you get your next meal. And then making sure that, when you do have a lunch, that is balanced. And, sometimes packing your lunch is a good idea. Mm-hmm. that helps. You can pack yourself a nutritious lunch, as well as save a couple dollars, because we all know how expensive lunch can get in town in particular. So it does take planning, but I think if you work on building those habits, those healthy habits, packing your lunch the night before, or if you want to bring leftovers to work, making sure that you put that in a nice container and bring that along with you, that can help you, with keeping your healthy eating on track, as well as helping your pocket as well.
How important is it to make sure that you are physically able to meet all these requirements as far as eating healthy, working out? You want to make sure that, do you advise people to make sure that they visit their GP on a regular basis, or get some sort of test done before they start to do this?
I definitely think if you're going to start like an exercise program and you haven't been physically active, it's always good to get a physical. And actually, a lot of different fitness centers will get people to sign off what's called a fitness PARQ, just to make sure they have been seen by their doctor, so they're medically cleared to exercise. But one of the things people don't realize is that dietitians are available to help educate you on nutrition, like what good nutrition is, and also help you get more individualized plans. So like what Shakira was saying was right on point, helping you understand like what you could have packed and ready to go so that you're set up for success, basically. And there's dietitians in Bermuda. There's well, I mean, there's the Bermuda Dietitians Association, which has a Facebook page. So if anyone wanted more information on how to access a dietitian, I would definitely recommend going there and sending us a message. We're really good at responding. And there's a few dietitians that are in private practice here in Bermuda. There's Arlene Andrews McGinnis, who has a business called The New, Hannah Simpson, who works at Island Nutrition, and there may be a few more that I'm missing today, but definitely, get those services. Dietitians are here to help you embrace food and really get you excited about trying new things, and really, like I said, make healthy eating not complicated. Make it really simple, fun, and easy to incorporate into your busy lifestyle.
Shakira, do you see more brown paper bags at Argus?
Well, you know what, Earl? I think it depends what day it is. I think ever since we kind of made a conscious effort to raise awareness about nutrition in the workplace. Like, for example, we have a series of lunch and learns going on right now addressing nutrition with someone who, by the way, is training to become a dietitian. She's currently enrolled in a program overseas. And yes, people are starting to bring, packed lunches, and when they're going out to buy lunch, making kind of mindful decisions about what they're buying, making sure that the meals are balanced. Sometimes you do see the odd, thing that may be a treat, but we know when we see those treats, it's usually on a Friday.
Anything you would like to add before we wrap up?
Yes, definitely. So, as part of the Argus Thrive program, we are always striving to ensure that we're giving our Argus Health members access to certain health and wellness resources that, as Jessica said, will help set them up for success, and making sure that this information that we pass on to our members is evidence-based, tailored, and individualized. And I believe that the Bermuda Dietitians Association has been a great partner of Argus in providing their services to local residents and providing evidence-based services to local residents to make, because we understand that diets, it's not one size fits all. There's preference involved, there's taste, there's, what's financially viable for people. And the dietitians are committed to working with individuals one-on-one to make sure that they have the resources they need to make healthy food. Sorry.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to speaking with you again, Shakira, and to the dietitian. Good information out there. Hopefully you get a few more calls and people start looking at a healthier way of living each and every day.
Thank you, Earl. Thank you so much.
Okay, and we'll be back with more Inside Sports Talk Radio after these commercials.
Sports Talk Radio has been presented. Now, back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Inside Sports Talk Radio on Power 95 FM with host Ian Rollins and co-host Earl Baisman.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Now, joining me is none other than Donna Reyna, who is the president of the Bermuda National Athletic Association. But in this capacity, she's going to be talking to me about Women in Sports Expo, and, Gala, and the whole bit. Donna, you've been working hard to ensure that First Friday night comes off well, and then, of course, you have the big expo on Saturday. How are things shaping up for Friday night?
I have to say, Earl, I'm really, really pleased with how everything is shaping up. We have nearly over 150 persons who will be attending the banquet, and the way that it's being done, I'm really, really excited, because this Women in Sport event is really, we're trying to gear it towards our young, not just athletes, but our young girls, to not just get them involved in sport, but to get them moving. We did a survey and we found that our girls are not as active as they should be. So that was kind of the impetus for us putting on this Women in Sport event. So what has happened is that we have several of our national governing bodies who are sponsoring their young athletes. So, for example, BFA will have a table of 10. Each table seats 10. Then we've got, BNAA will have a table. We have archery, volleyball, hockey, golf youth team, rugby, netball, equestrian. I mean, all of the sports are just jumping on board, and it's exciting. I have to say, I probably torture them every single week. They receive an email from me like, okay, the banquet's coming up.
This lady from track and field emailing.
Exactly. This banquet's coming up, and we're putting it on for our youth. And I have to say, David Sabir jumped on board, and he was the first one to say, BFA are going to sponsor a table of 10. He sent that out and let everyone know, kind of this is what I'm doing. So I think everybody else should jump on board, and everybody's been jumping on board. So I'm very, very excited about Friday. And then on the Saturday, we have the majority of a lot of the national governing bodies who are going to have booths at the expo. Okay. So this event, is really being supported very well. I'm hoping, we've been to a couple of schools, done a couple of presentations, so I'm really hoping that, the schools get involved and, really push it to their young school girls to come out and, even if they can't afford the banquet, because the banquet is $100 a ticket, they can come to the expo, which is free. Right.
Now, the way the expo is set up, is it two different rooms? Because you have speakers as well.
No, it's one big, massive room. We're going to have demonstrations throughout the day. Lotus is going to be doing a demonstration, and they do aerial gymnastics. I was told what the description is. We also have a gymnastics display. We have a jump rope display, because again, like I said, our thing is not just getting our young girls involved in sport, is to get our young girls involved in any sort of activity where we can get them moving. So that's why we try to make sure that we had a variety in the demonstration. And then we have Wushu, Bermuda, who will also be doing a demonstration. And then from 2 to 3, we have our own Bermuda elite athletes who will be doing a panel. And on that panel, we have Katura Horton Parentship, and she will be with her mother will be there. Jessica Lewis, our para-athlete, with her mother. And then we have Dominique Richardson, who was, head of the captain of the football team. She now plays netball. She'll be there with her mother. One of the objectives of this weekend is also to show what is needed from parental support, coaching support, even from the administrative support. So what we're looking at is involving the mothers so that they can also describe how they've gone through the journey along with their daughters to become the elite athlete that they are. And even on the banquet night, we have Hazel Clark and her sister-in-law, Gerald Miles Clark. We was hoping to have Joetta, but her schedule kind of conflicted because, as you know, they are top U.S. Olympians,
Mm-hmm.
multiple Olympians, and those three qualified for the same Olympics in the same event, which was history. You know, three relatives
Mm-hmm.
qualifying for the U.S. team, and all three of them were coached by their brother.
Right.
So basically, their presentation on the Friday night again is going to be about their journey to becoming an elite athlete. And as you know, as people may or may not know, Joe Clark, the movie Lean on Me, that's Hazel Clark and Joetta Clark's father.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we know from that movie he was a heavy disciplinarian.
Yes.
So again, we'll be talking about the role that the parent plays in helping their athlete to reach the elite level.
Mm-hmm. You during your day of competing had a lot of support as well.
Oh.
How looking back at it, how important is it to have a mother like you had, or like you have, that supported you in several different ways?
Well, the interesting thing for me, my mother not only supported me in the sport, but she became one of the administrators and officials. So she officiated at every event that I was at. And I always tell people the story, because remember the way the National Stadium used to be built, we had the grass and we had that hill.
Right.
There was a tree that whenever I competed, my daddy was at that tree.
Right.
And I would always go to the starting line, look up in the hill, my daddy was there every single time. And I mean, they supported me through the tough times. I mean, I remember the first year I did not make the Carifta team. Everyone else was selected and I wasn't selected, and that was a hard night, but my mother was there, my dad was there giving me encouragement, saying, don't worry about it, next year you just make sure that you make the qualifying standard, and and you go. And so I've had that parental support, Earl, from the time I started running track, while I was in school, even after I was in school. My parents lived in New York for a while, and whenever we went to this meet in New York, my parents would come to the meet to watch me. And so just as I'm watching track on TV now, I call my mom. I say, Mom, my track meet's on and the TV's on. Her and my dad's watching track. So I've had fantastic support. Even now as an administrator, my mom will be with me at the banquet on Saturday. So any event that I have, any award that I've given, both of my parents are there with me.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's always encouraging that you have people on your side to ensure that not only keeps you grounded, but it also makes sure that you kind of respect, because no one wants to, what we consider, act up.
When the parents are there watching.
Well, yeah, because I don't care if you're grown, you still got to go home.
Exactly. Right up to this day.
That's right. Yeah. Because it kind of makes you understand what not only elite, but just athletes go through on a daily basis. You get up, and although a lot of people will say, look at Flora Duffy, look at Tyler Butterfield, look at Tyrone Smith, look at our athletes, they weren't in it by themselves. No.
Ever.
They might go training by themselves.
Exactly.
But when that day is over, as far as physically training, emotionally they need help as well.
Need help.
That's where parental guidance comes in. That's where not only a coach, but a lot of that stuff is a phone call away.
It is. And you need that, especially, it's a good thing for your parent to understand what you're doing, because, they will also assist you with your diet. Like they're not going to start, like my mom, to this day, she cooks healthy, because she had to start it with me as an athlete. So that's just all part of her lifestyle now. So a parent has to understand that. Like you say, when you've had a bad track meet, you need, your parent to understand. You don't need your parent, to be, so you need your parent to be there. Sometimes that's that air that you talk to, like, I really thought I put in the training that I should have, and I don't know what happened. And, you talk to your coach, but what your coach is going to say, you didn't train hard enough this week. I knew there were things that you didn't do whereas, a parent would be a little bit more soothing to a certain extent, but they'll still say, you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. Because like I said, when I didn't make that team, that's the first thing my parents tell me. Well, next year, you just make sure you meet that standard, that there's no question that you'll be selected or not. So, no, I think, sometimes people don't realize, how important a parent support is. You know, I mean, people just send sometimes their children off to these events and drop them off, and I'll see you later.
Right.
You know, and I could name so many of our athletes that's had their parent there, and we can see the positive influence that parent has had on that child's athletics career.
And to be honest, I would encourage people to come out between that 2 and 3 to hear local. You know, we it's good to have people come in and talk to you about experiences, but when you have people on island, you've had a diver in the Olympics. It's going to be speaking, and her mom. You have a Paralympian.
Remember, her mom was Beak Blue Machine.
That's right. That's right. And then you have Dominique and her mom. So to hear it from your neighbor, because in Bermuda, even if you live in Somerset and St. George, that's your neighbor. So to hear it from a neighbor person on what you could possibly be going through or what you're looking forward to going through is an opportunity to go. Listen, ask questions, and just get that. Am I doing it right? Because one of those 6 people up on that panel is going to say something that's going to touch you and say, you know what, I am doing it right, or you know what, I need to change. I might need to ask the child a question. Do you know, are you comfortable with me? Because some parents get up and they act up. I mean, you know, come on. Some kids don't like that. But they're afraid to say that, Mommy, I don't, you know, or Daddy, you know, you're kind of embarrassing me. Kind of, but, you know, if you listen, you could probably get something.
You could learn something.
Yeah, definitely.
And that was one thing, like with the banquet, which is the message that I kept putting out to the national governing bodies. You know, yes, we want, you know, the administrators there, but this is really geared to our youth. I mean, you know, we're going to hear Hazel and we're going to hear Gerald speak. And in reality, we have several Bermudians that could probably say the same story. I could get up there and probably say the same story. So I don't really need to hear it. It's not going to benefit me at this stage. But our young people, this is who we are talking to over this entire weekend. And I'm, like I said, I'm so excited that so many of our national governing bodies are coming on board. But as I said, this is not just about trying to get our girls involved in sport. It's just about getting them moving. As you know, the high rate of diabetes in Bermuda, you know, it's high. And most of it is because these children are, you know, they're sedentary. They're not doing anything at all. So even if they take out a jump rope and skip, you know, which is why we wanted to really balance out the weekend to say, okay, let's not just focus on sports. Like, you know, let's bring in a lotus, let's bring in a jump rope, and also we wanted to balance it out. Okay, on the Friday night you can hear, as you said, some international speakers about their experience. But on the Saturday we want to make sure it's all Bermudian. You know, it's all Bermudian. Let's hear their stories. You know, one other thing we're hoping that will happen, I know, you know, we have reached out, is that we get a video from Flora. You know, so that we can start the banquet kind of with her video, and then the second day before the panel speaks. But, you know, whether she's had time to do it, I don't know. But we have been in communication, because, of course, that was one of the first people that we reached out to. But as you know, she has an event this weekend. So, but if we can even just get a video, you know, of her, or, you know, even just a soundtrack, you know, something where, you know, she can just send a message forward too, because Bermuda has a lot of elite. We've had a lot, and we still will have more elite. So it's really great that we can put them on the stage. You know, like you said, first thing you think, oh, let's go overseas and get people. Because I know when we had the last Women in Sport event, we brought in several overseas elite athletes. You know, kind of mixed it. But this time we wanted the panel to be totally a Bermudian panel.
That was a good start. I mean, I missed it over the last few years because whatever, you know, it didn't materialize. But I think something of this nature needs to be on an annual basis to ensure that it's engaging. Like you said, it's not just the athlete, but it's to get young ladies moving. And who knows, they might join a group after that. So, and then there's a parent out there that might say, I want to get my child active in something. Something might catch your eye at the expo. You know, you never know. I mean, I'll use the exhibition as an example. The amount of kids you hear telling their parents, "Can I ride a horse?" Or you know, when they go and watch the horse jumping, because it's there, it's captured their imagination. So I would encourage you to take your children. You go out, see what it's about. Take all that negative, because everybody talks about different sports as negative, and this is for this group of people. This is for it's a sport.
It's a sport.
You know,
Exactly.
so look at it, open eyes, open heart. If it's for you, it will grab you.
That's it. And the thing about this is diverse.
Yeah.
This is not going towards any specific culture. It's not going towards any specific size.
Right.
It's across the board, which, as I said, I'm so excited that all of these sports are jumping on board, going to have a booth set up. And, I mean, some of these guys are going all out, Earl. They're going to have a run machine for you to try out. They're going to have this. We may have some hurdles for people to, we haven't really seen these space yet.
Right.
That's kind of what everyone's envisioning, that, they want to be able to show their sport. Hockey. I want to have a little bit of piece of grass where I can show you how to hit out. So, I think this is really going to be exciting, and I'm so happy how everyone is kind of coming together and saying, I want to be part of this, because this is not, this for me is not about track and field.
Right.
Because I have on my BOA hat. Right. And so what we're looking at is sports across the board, not just track and field, but of course we'll have our booth as well, trying to entice people to come to our sport, but it's not about track. It's about sport and our young girls. That's what this is all about.
Can you name some of the people that's been on your team helping to drive this and put it together?
Well, my committee, I've got Coutura is on my committee. Mia Bean is on my committee. I have Brenda Dale. Brandon Smith is on the committee. I have Rachel Barnes from squash who's on the committee. I have Tommy Johnson from basketball. Yeah. He is part of the committee. I've got Trina from archery. Okay. John Barrett is on the committee, and then we put in a nice young girl who's just come back. She was on a track scholarship, Natasha Trott. Yes. I've been able to pull her in, so we've got her involved too. So
you got Natasha to surface.
Yes, and
I hope she's listening to you.
No, don't worry.
It's been a month you're missing.
I'm getting it too. It's interesting because I saw her at the football symposium when they had that, and her and I sat down and talked because she was on a panel and she told about track. So I pulled her over afterwards. I said, "You talked a lot about track." She says, "I just love track." I said, "So are you interested in coming and helping out?" She says, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I have a couple of areas there." So I will be utilizing her.
Okay.
So so she.
It's always good to have those people that still have the energy and the passion for a sport that are willing to give back. Because we often see that. I mean, in a circle about 3 weeks ago, I remember talking to a few people, and we were talking about how after kids go to school and they finish school, and if they don't see a pathway to, say, the Olympics, and we were talking track and field, they kind of just quit.
That's it.
They don't come back to help out a track meet. They don't. It's all said and done. Where I think what people need to be made to understand is, if you don't see your path, maybe you can teach someone and help them on the path. You know what I mean? Just by showing up, be a starter, be a judge, be a anything, because somebody was there to give you that opportunity. And I think that's where I think a lot of our athletes, not just track and field, but a lot of our athletes drop the ball in that regard. And then you hear like someone like yourself who gives up a lot of time and a lot of years of service, and then you hear people, "Oh, well, it's time for somebody else to take over." Who's showing the interest? Who is, you know what I mean? And what do they want out of it? Do they want for the better of the sport?
Just for themselves.
Or do they want for themselves? And that's what a lot of people, I listen, I defend a lot of people in sports because I hear a lot of people just talking about the negative side. Okay, if you're upset that so-and-so is doing this in football or so-and-so is doing this in tennis, put your hand up.
Put your hand up, right? And that's what I say to people all the time. You know, if it's something we're doing wrong, and I don't mind being criticized. If it's something that we're doing wrong, and you can point out to me what it is and how we can fix it, or if you want to come on board and help to fix that area, you're always welcome. If you want to come into my seat, you're welcome to have that as well,
Right.
because this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, this is not like, you know, I go home and I sit up and I put my feet up and relax. My poor husband, I go home, the laptop comes out, like, oh my God, you just left work. I said, yeah, but I got to answer these emails.
Mm-hmm.
I got to look at this. I got to do this. I got to organize this, because, you know, I can't be organizing it through the day because
Right.
I got another job through
Right.
the day.
Right.
So, you know, if someone else is willing.
I just think a lot of people see the finish line, even
Mhm.
when they see athletes, and congratulations to Ronaldo, we have 15 qualified.
Mhm.
But when they see the end result, they don't see the work being
that
put
goes
in
behind it.
week in and week
Mhm.
out, and we draw a reference. 3 weeks ago, Ryan Otterbridge tried to qualify,
Mhm.
and he was more than 15 seconds off of the pace.
Uh-huh.
A week
He
later,
runs by himself.
yes, and crushes it
Mhm.
by more than 7 seconds.
Exactly.
So, although he's putting in the work, not every day is going to be a day that you're going to feel good to
and
do
the
it.
weather,
And yeah,
all
so,
of that to do
but people only see the finish line.
Mhm.
They didn't see the challenge that he had
Okay.
2
To
weeks
get
before.
it.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, and it's just like that in administration. A lot of
Mhm.
people see. I mean, even you know, even what I do.
Mhm.
A lot of people see the finished work.
Mhm.
They don't see what it took to get there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's gratifying to know that, I mean, this will come off.
Mhm.
I think will be a successful
Mhm.
weekend,
Mhm.
and I look forward to continuous.
Mhm.
I know it's a lot of work. Coming up with themes, coming up with just the right thing that's going to attract
Exactly.
those people that you're
Yep.
looking for. But
Yep.
I mean, I think it's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah, because I mean, our slogan for this week is "Be the champion of your life."
Oh, okay.
You know, no one else can champion your life for you except for yourself.
Mhm, mhm.
So that's we kind of came up with that idea. Kind of I talked with someone else and
Right.
kind of came up with it. So you know, our theme is be the champions of your life.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's about. But as you said earlier, which is again how, you know, I got into the discussion with Natasha as well, is, you know, there are so many areas that you can go. You can become a coach.
Mhm.
You know, you can become an official. You can become an administrator. And that was one thing when I went to the football symposium that they talked about quite a bit, which I thought was great too, is, you know, when you come home, you know, you've been to school and so on and so forth, you know, your days of playing football is over. It does not mean that you have to get out of that sport.
Right.
It's so much that you can give. These young children, they're waiting for somebody to give them some guidance, you know, and direct them in the right area. Because even when I talked to Natasha, first thing we talked about was coaching. And she said, I really don't know if I could be a good coach or if that's the area I want to go in. I said, well, you got the administrative side.
Mhm.
You know, luckily for me, I was an athlete, a coach. Then I became the administrator. And, you know, fortunately, that's taken me higher and higher, you know, IAAF, BOA, and so on and so forth. So, you know, you can chart out your own path.
Right.
You know, you don't
Within
have to
the
leave
sport.
within the sport.
Yeah,
You can chart your own path out, you know.
Stay within the sport.
Stay within the sport, you know, help, you know, my main thing for getting back into track and field was to help these young people. I mean, I got to travel, I got a scholarship, you know, I got to see the world, and I'm still seeing the world. So my thing is, let me help someone else have the same opportunities that I've had. You know, so it's not about me anymore.
Right.
It's about what can I offer? You know, how can I get you to have these opportunities? Because some of them are just landing in my lap. I'm not even trying for it to happen, but you know, things are happening.
Yeah.
And it's just you putting yourself out there, getting involved with different things, and things just happen.
Yeah. When can we expect the curricular team to be announced?
Well, we will select the team March the 31st. So the last day of qualification is March the 30th.
Sunday.
Yeah, for Sunday. So we'll select the team on the Sunday.
Will you have a track meet? You usually have a track meet on that day.
Sometimes we do. The only reason that we may not is because inter-school sports, I believe, is the same week. And so by the Saturday, these children are worn out. And the thing is, they can qualify
that weekend.
Yeah, you know, we're also trying to do some fundraisers. We've got the Laps for Health, which we tried last year, but it was horrible weather. So we're having that again. And that's on the 17th, where we're, you know, trying to get people, because the more athletes qualify, the more money we need. So we're trying to put on a couple of big fundraisers to see if we could, because we're not leaving anybody. That's for sure.
Okay.
We're not leaving anybody.
I was just going to say, because you
No,
got a little challenge on your hands.
No, don't worry. We all have it worked out in our heads. Don't worry, girl.
Pretty.
What we always say is if an athlete qualifies, because most athletes can do 2 events.
Right.
There's not too many athletes that only do 1 event.
Right.
Most athletes can do 2 events. So our thing is, if an athlete makes a qualifying standard, we'll figure out a way.
Right.
You know, it may not be their favorite, but they will go.
They will go, and they will represent for you.
Yes, we try.
Because ultimately, that's what they have to understand.
That's
You're representing Bermuda.
Exactly.
You know, and all we ask is you do your best.
Yeah, but I have to say, I mean, I don't know if you was at the Hill track meet on Saturday, but this was one of the best track meets I think I've been to for the last couple of years.
Right.
These athletes look so hungry. They were so into it. I was so pleased when I left that track meet on Saturday, because I haven't seen that for a long time. I mean, when I watched Nairobi and Central run that 8, I knew they wanted to qualify. I mean, they started like, I have intentions of making this standard. And I mean, 157, the standard's 203. 157, he'd have medaled after last year in the under 17 boys 800. So, you know, and also just every week, these guys, the times are getting better and better and better.
The good thing is they have what you guys had back in the day. Yeah, each other pushing each other.
It's team camaraderie, and that's what's happening. Like even with the girls, you know, we have some of the guys running with the girls, and they're helping them to reach these standards. It's just, it was just Saturday for me was just fantastic. You know, you know, as an administrator, as a president of an association, that's something that you want to see. And I saw it on Saturday, and I'm like, you know what? This is shaping up to be a really, really good team for Carifta this year. We have relays, you know, the under 17 girl. This is shaping up to be really, really something.
Well, all the best this weekend with the Women in Sports Expo weekend. We look forward to giving it some coverage, and hopefully out of that we get a few people involved in sports. Okay?
Exactly.
All right. Well, folks, we've come to the end of the Inside Sports Talk Radio for this Monday, March. I keep saying February. March 4th. Do enjoy the rest of your day.